Holy smokes, hold on to your seats. This is the wildest Hollywood throwdown you've ever seen. Two living legends, one a silver screen goddess who owns every frame she's in, the other a daytime TV titan who's never once zipped her lip, just collided live in front of a gasping studio crowd. What exploded next was so raw, so unfiltered, it left jaws on the floor phones filming every second and the internet in total meltdown for weeks before. We ripped the lid off this earth-shattering moment, that flipped daytime. TV upside down, smash that subscribe button for Prime Narrator right now and slap the like. So you never miss the next insane celebrity clash. Drop your hot take in the comments. As you read Team Drama Queen or Team Loudmouth Legend, let's dive straight into the chaos. The studio lights on The View blaze hotter than a wildfire. That morning the crowd buzzed like a hive about to burst. Because walking onto that stage wasn't just any guest. It was Meryl Streep, the most Oscar-crowned actress breathing, stepping straight into the lion's den of live, no-holds-barred television. She glided in wearing a razor-sharp charcoal suit, elegant, but lethal her face, serene, yet her eyes, screaming something's coming. Whoopi Goldberg, planted dead center on the panel, slid her glasses down her nose and leaned forward like a boxer, hearing the Bell history crackle between them, years of sly shade, clashing politics, and a silent rivalry that had simmered across red carpets and late-night monologues today. That pot was about to boil over. The first 5 minutes played nice Sunny Hostin lob softballs about Meryl's newest film, and Meryl answered with that velvet voice that could calm a hurricane. Then the chat swerve into the danger zone. Hollywood scandals, accountability, who gets to speak, who gets to stay quiet. The View lives for this tightrope. But today the rope was on fire. Whoopi, voice dripping with that signature honey and razor mix, tilted her head and fired the first shot. Meryl, you've been crowned Hollywood's moral compass for decades, but a lot of folks feel you've gone radio silent on the biggest fights. Have you really spoken up when the world needed you most? The studio sucked in its breath, seats creaked, cameras zoomed. Meryl's $1 million smile twitched. Just a hair. She inhaled like she was pulling strength from the rafters and answered cool, but icy. I speak through my work. The loudest voice isn't always the one that moves mountains. Sometimes it's the stories you dare to tell. Whoopi's eyebrow launched like a rocket. A smirk curled. Cute answer, she purred. But doesn't silence sometimes look an awful lot like complicity? Gasp. Half the crowd clutched pearls, the other half leaned in. Hungry Meryl's eyes turned to steel. Silence, she said, voice dropping to a whisper that somehow filled the room, is not complicity, and you don't get to find what my silence means. Boom, the laughter died, the chatter vanished, the moderator squirmed. Whoopi folded her arms like armor. I'm not defining anything, Meryl. I'm asking what millions want to know. When the industry was crumbling, when young actors were screaming for help, some of us were. Loud, some weren't. Meryl leaned in calm, cracking into quiet fury. And some of us, she fired back, fought wars you never saw, quietly, without cameras, without applause. The studio went dead silent. A woman in row 2 slapped a hand over her mouth. The moderator tried to pivot. So, back to the movie, but the energy had flipped. This wasn't an interview anymore. This was Gladiators. Whoopi leaned closer, voice low. Lethal, quiet battles don't change a damn thing if nobody knows they happen. Meryl's mask shattered. A flash of pure fire crossed her face. That she snapped is an easy line when your whole career is built on talking. Not everyone needs a stage to matter. Holy crap, the audience exploded. A few road claps and instant regret. Cameras whipped wide to catch both queens and frame Meryl simmering, Whoopi smirking like she'd just drawn blood, tension thicker than fog. And just when it felt like the room might combust, Whoopi whispered soft enough to chill bones. Funny thing about stories, Meryl, they only hit if people still believe you care. Meryl's lips parted. No sound. A pause stretched like a wire about to snap. The crowd froze. Phones trembled and sweaty hands. This wasn't shade. This was where the silence after Whoopi's gut punch lasted forever. Even the studio lights seemed to buzz louder. Meryl's eyes locked on Whoopi's, the warmth gone, replaced by a glare sharp enough to cut glass in row 3. A guys stopped recording, too stunned to function. Whispers hissed through the seats like wildfire. Did you see her face? The moderator cleared her throat like a scared kitten. Let's a maybe, but Meryl cut her off, leaning forward, elbows on the table, voice velvet. Wrapped steel. You know, Whoopi, for someone who preaches listening, you're awful quick to judge the quiet ways people fight. Not everyone craves a spotlight to do good. The room trembled. Whoopi's smile tightened, frustration bubbling. Oh, I'm listening, she shot back. I just know the world moves. When people get loud, staying quiet might feel noble, but sometimes it's just safe, and safe changes nothing. Meryl repeated the word like poison. Safe, then louder. Lethal. Was it safe to fight? Studios at 25 to demand respect for women on set when it could have ended my career. Don't you dare mistake no headlines for no courage crowd lost. IT nods, gasps, a few years hours Whoopi. Didn't blink, I hear you. She said arms crossed, you got history. But you can't hide behind it right now. When survivors needed a giant like you, where were you collecting awards? Or in back rooms spinning stories, gasp X1000, a lady in front clutched her heart like it might. Stop. Meryl's lips thinned to a blade for a heartbeat, she said. Nothing then calm but loaded. I was in rooms you'll never enter helping people you'll never meet because real change isn't performance, its results. Scattered claps. Whoopi's voice dropped, almost sad, but still sharp. See, that's a rub people need to see you. They need to know Meryl Streep. Gives a damn enough to stand visible, quiet's noble, but it can look like distance and distance that hurts. Meryl sat back, fire undimmed. I care, she said, each word a hammer, but I won't apologize for. Refusing to turn help into a photo op uneasy. Claps from one side, silence from the other. A dude in row 2 whispered loud enough for mics, "This is getting real." Whoopi caught it, grinned. Without warmth difference between us, I'll take the heat over letting folks think I'm sitting pretty. Meryl's knuckles whitened. For someone fearless, you sure love conflict. Sometimes the strongest move is listening even when it stings. Arrow straight to the heart. Louder gasp. The moderator tried again. Ladies, maybe. But Whoopi raised a hand, eyes locked. Nah, let's finish. People watching admire you, Meryl. But admiration ain't trust. When survivors needed your voice, we heard crickets. Meryl's voice shook, not weak, but alive. Maybe you didn't hear because you were too busy shouting. The quiet work got drowned out by noise. I won't be shamed for refusing your script. Spontaneous applause. Some clap hard, others froze. Producer offstage flail for commercial. But the director held ratings. Gold. Whoopi leaned in soft. But slicing this ain't shame, it's accountability. If the world can't count on you when it burns, who's left? Meryl's eyes glisten, not tears, but pure regal fury. I've given my life to stories that shift souls. I'll keep doing it. But I won't let anyone, not even you, say my voice only counts when it's loud enough for cameras. Roar the studio became an arena. Split screen. Meryl jaw locked. Whoopi defiant respect. Flickering. Moderator squeaked, we need a break. Cut 2 commercials. But nobody moved. Meryl turned voice low, off mic. This isn't about a day, it's years of resentment. Isn't it? Whoopi looked away and oh, answer. Crowd whisper like gossip on steroids. A girl in back. I thought movies were intense. This is real. Red light. Blink back. On air. The panel looked calm, but the air crackled. Meryl's fingers trembled. Not fear. Battle stance. Whoopi weighed every syllable. Moderator forced cheer. Welcome back. Passionate. Talk about public voices. Meryl murmured, passionate. Is generous. Whoopi addressed cameras. This isn't me versus Meryl. It's what fans expect. When the world's on fire, they want action, not just Oscar reels. Meryl exhaled sharp. And if stepping off the pedestal means losing the megaphone to reach millions, then what if you think films don't shift culture? You've forgotten why we tell stories. Murmurs. Whoopi turned softer, but aching stories inspire. But voices, real present voices, save lives. Meryl paused, chose words like weapons. I've stood up more than you'll ever know. Left power dinners, killed scripts that degraded women. I don't need applause for integrity. Whoopi, then why hide it? Young actresses needed to know. Queen Meryl had their back. Silence. So thick you could cut. IT. Meryl blinked, walls cracking. Because the second you broadcast it stops being about them and starts being about you. That's not why I fought. Tentative claps. Whoopi leaned, elbows on table, voice almost gentle. I get it, but silence feels like absence, and absence leaves scars. Meryl's fingers flex, voice waver. Human. You think I don't carry scars, staying in an industry that chewed up women, fighting quietly so I could keep telling stories that matter. Don't mistake restraint for apathy. I care. Studio held IT's breath. This wasn't ego. This was legacy on trial. The moderator's coffee sat cold, sunny. Tried to pivot to box office numbers. Nope, the crowd wasn't here for stats. They were here for blood. A producer hissed into Whoopi's earpiece. She waved him off. Meryl adjusted her sleeve, the tiniest motion, but every eye tracked it like hawks. Whoopi broke. The hushed scars don't excuse. Silence. When the next generation's bleeding. Meryl's laugh was soft, bitter. You think I don't bleed? Every role I took that scared the suits, every paycheck I risked, that was blood. Just because it didn't trend on Twitter doesn't mean it didn't happen. A teenage girl on the balcony stood up, and shouted, tell the Meryl security lunge. But the crowd roared approval. The moderator panicked, smiled. Whoopi lifted a brow half impressed. See, even the kids know visibility matters. Meryl turned to the girl, voice warm for the first time. Sweetheart, I fight, so you can choose your battles loud or quiet. The girl sat, tears shining like drop energy. But Whoopi wasn't done. She stood, and the studio gasped. I marched, I spoke. I got dragged, but I showed up. Can you say the same for every survivor who watched you accept awards while their stories got buried? Meryl rose, 2 titans toe-to-toe. I funded their lawyers. I housed them when studios blacklisted. I did it anonymously, so the help stayed pure. You Want a parade? I wanted results. The crowd erupted, phones flashed like lightning. Meryl versus Whoopi trended before the segment. Ended a man in front, yelled, "This is better than WrestleMania." The moderator surrendered, tossing her cards. "We're just going to let this breathe, smart move." Whoopi voice cracking for the first time. "I'm not attacking you, Meryl. I'm begging you. That supernova platform, one tweet, one speech, one moment where you say I'm with them, that's all." Meryl's eyes soften, not defeat. "But pain, I say it every time I choose a script that lifts women up. Every time I mentor a young director off camera, my life is a speech." A beat two legends breathing hard, then shocker Whoopi reached across the table. Not a handshake, a touch on Meryl's wrist, then let the world see the speech. Meryl stared at the hand the studio held it so slowly. She covered Whoopi's fingers with hers. No words, just electric, understanding the moderator. Whisper, "We're out of time," but the director let it roll history. As credits rolled, the women stayed seated off mic. Meryl murmured, "Drink." After this, Whoopi barked a laugh. Scotch neat. The crowd lost their minds. Cut to black. But the internet on fire. Clips hit 1 billion views in 24 hours. Memes, essays, think pieces. Quiet courage versus loud love. Late night. Hosts open with it. College classes dissected it. 2 icons, 1 table, 0 scripts. Pure unfiltered truth. And that, folks, is how daytime TV got rewritten. The lights never dimmed, the buzz never stopped. The moment replayed in every mind in that studio and every screen across the globe. The clash wasn't just words, it was a mirror held up to power, fame, and the cost of both. The crowd filed out slowly, still whispering, still rewatching on phones, still picking sides. The crew stood stunned, headsets dangling like they'd forgotten how to work. The producers knew they just captured lightning in a bottle. Meryl stood first, smoothing her suit like armor. Whoopi followed, slower eyes still locked on the spot where their hands had touched. Neither spoke, but the air between them hummed with something new. Not peace exactly, but respect, forge and fire. The moderator, Sunny, Joy, Alyssa, they all hovered, unsure if the show was over or just beginning. Backstage, the hallway was chaos. Reporters shouted questions, phones shoved in faces. Meryl walked through it like a queen parting seas. Whoopi trailed a step behind, waving off the noise with a grin that said, "Yeah, we just did that." They disappeared into separate dressing rooms, doors closing with soft clicks that sounded final. Inside Meryl's room, the mirror reflected a woman who looked both exhausted and alive. She sat, poured water from a bottle, took a long sipper. Phone buzzed, nonstop text from agents, publicists, friends, kids. She ignored them all. Instead, she opened a blank note and typed 3 words. "I was heard." In Whoopi's room, the vibe was different. Music played low, something soulful. She kicked off her shoes, propped feet on the coffee table, and laughed to herself, not the TV laugh, the real one that started deep in her chest. She grabbed her phone, scrolled the trending hashtags, and shook her head. "Damn, Meryl." She muttered, respect. The clip spread like wildfire. First Twitter, then TikTok, then every news channel. Looping the split screen, the touch, the off-mic drink. Invite by noon, late-night writers were scrambling to rewrite monologues. By evening, college kids were making reaction threads. By midnight, the world had a new holiday. Meryl Whoopi Day. Fans dissected every frame, the way Meryl's finger trembled, the exact second Whoopi's voice cracked the girl in the balcony. Became a meme. Tell them Meryl in bold, white letters over everything from cat videos to protest signs. Brands tried to jump. In one coffee company posted 2 cups, one labeled quiet, one labeled loud, and got roasted into oblivion. Pundits weighed in, some called it the death of civility. Others hailed it as the birth of real talk. Feminists split, some praising Meryl's stealth activism, others cheering Whoopi's demand for visibility. Activists on both sides claimed victory. The only consensus: this changed everything. The next morning, talk shows led with it. Morning Joe, CNN, Fox, every anchor had an opinion. Meryl's publicist released a statement short and perfect. "Thank you for watching the conversation. Continue." Whoopi's team dropped a single emoji, fire. Meryl flew home to Connecticut the same day. She walked her dog through autumn leaves, ignored. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated. Subscribe for more powerful video.